Hello, YouTube. Okay, review first, discussion later. This is the Glen Grant, 15-year-old, batch strength. This is the first edition, so distilled 2003, bottle 2018. They're claiming this is all first fill bourbon cask, and they're claiming non-chill filtration, which is great. And this is bottled at batch strength is meaningless, but what it means in this case is 50% alcohol, 100 proof. So what I'm going to do is give you some neat tasting notes, add a little bit of water to bring it down to an easier strength, give it some final notes and a rating, and we'll talk about this thing. Okay, so first off, nose. Speyside, very spirity Speyside. White pepper is the first thing, but also like just tons of honey, like wildflower honey, kind of a slightly heavier honey, but not too. We're not getting into the forest honeys here, and just sort of straight up malt. If you've ever had like a malted milk ball, the stuff in the middle, that's kind of what you're getting on the nose. Some just graininess, maybe a little bit of like porridge. Some apples, pears, little grassiness. This is most Speyside is very floral. This is more grassy, like dried grass. Hint of orange zest and like kind of a nutshelly thing, like walnut shells. I'm gonna go with that. And to finish up, there is like a bread pastry thing to this, like fresh brioche and a little bit of like a lemon pastry thing, like like the little pastries with like the lemon sugary thing in the middle. There's a little bit of that. It is a little bit woody, but it's not excessive at all. At least not neat like this. I guess some wood spice. It doesn't really smell like traditional like Christmas spicy stuff. There's not a lot of cinnamon. It just smells like wood. And maybe like one vanilla bean. Not too much. And a little bit of a tea note, maybe like Earl Grey, something with some other stuff mixed in. And on the palate. Again, sort of Speyside, but very, very spirity. You can see kind of resemblance to, something like Glenmorangie. Glen Grant has these like really big, not super tall, but really tall stills, which just make this with these weird purifier things that makes for a very spirity spirit. If I can, sorry about that. So. Yeah, honey is leading the way again, but then there's this. I mean, the nutshelly thing is kind of right out in front on the palate. Yeah, so like cover your nuts like just a ton of nutshells of various kinds in honey, but like dry honey, if that makes sense. Like no sugar left in it. Maybe some like pear skins. Not like pear fruit. It's more like the skin. Oh, and just straight up malt again, like inside of a malted milk ball. Grains again, just kind of a porridgey thing. And I was gonna say oatmeal. It isn't. It's just more like porridge. Creme brulee. And the wood is more prominent in the palate. Like just some toasted wood planks, throw that in your mix. A coffee note, kind of like a it's sort of like if you took like a really good cup of coffee, but added like a little bit of like the French vanilla creamer in there. There's a little bit of like coffee with French vanilla in there. Dried grass again, not flowers. This is grass. No, okay, a couple of flowers mixed in, just to make it fun. Just chewing on some grass and flowers. Also it's actually very flinty. It's very there's a little bit of minerality going on in here. Reminds me a little bit of some Southern Highlanders. You know, your Edredors, your Glen Goynes, maybe even your Dalwhinnies a little bit. Coffee, maybe there's even some like used coffee grinds in this. I mean, and you're just chewing on them. It's nice. It's very Speyside-y, with that sort of nutshell-y thing and the coffee notes leading the way. I'm gonna give this 2 squirts, and let's talk about this. Okay. So I was delighted to see this for a couple of reasons. So Glen Grant is one of the largest distilleries in Speyside. It's not, I don't think it's even in the top 5 anymore, but it's still like just by sort of malt distillery standards, it's huge. It's not a huge presence in the US right now, but apparently it's really big in Italy, so there's that. And they're known for a whole bunch of things, especially like big stills. And these things just age forever. I mean, this is not one of the legendary sort of 30-plus-year-old Glen Grants, but it is, a fun, 15 years young, put it that way. One thing I will note about this is, well, first of all, they're claiming first fill bourbon casks. This does not come across as that woody to me. There are a lot of wood notes, but you would expect 15 years in fresh bourbon cask would like overwhelm something like this, and that hasn't really happened. The other, and by the way, they're not saying natural color. They are saying chill filtration, no natural color. But look at that. That does not look that fake to me. There's a nice kind of heavy straw color, but nothing. I mean, it doesn't look like it has like a tan or anything. The other nice thing, there's no finish on this, right? I mean, they didn't like throw this in a Banyule cask or like a Chateauneuf de Pape cask or something for an extra year at the end. Like they just said, okay, no, here's what we got. Here's what we did in 2003, and we let it sit in some oak for 15 years, and here you go. And I love that. That's incredibly refreshing, actually. Okay, so now that I've been babbling, this has had some time to settle down. So we're going to go back to it with some a little bit of water in it and see what's going on. Okay. The citrus pastries really kind of take over. Also some nutshells though. Like take some like, lemony, orangey pastries and just drop nutshells and stuff all over them. Maybe some like more fruity honeys. I don't know, like orange blossom honeys. I'm not really as much up on my honeys as I used to be. And just like grandma's cream of wheat. You don't know exactly what she's putting in it, but it's nice. It's kind of grainy and fruity, and it's lovely. And more of that sort of Earl Grey kind of note. On the palate, gets sweeter, but also more peppery. The honey is coming out, but there's also some wood tannins on the back end, which I kind of like, actually. It's not excessive. It's not like ripping the back of my mouth out. It's just like a little bit drying and nice. Honey, kind of grassy graininess, like the porridgey cream of wheat thing again. More nutshells, like a coffee thing. not a latte, more like a cortado or something, little more edgy. Um, yeah, that's what's interesting about this. It's actually a little bit nervous. It's actually a little bit edgy. If I can't think of a better name, it reminds me a little bit of white wine. It's like I mean, it's very Speyside, but it also feels like, you had someone over here who was like, I love, Speyside. I love my Glenlivets and my, Glenfiddichs, and I want honeyed and, simple and big and kind of, off dry. And someone over here was like, no, 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 no. I love my, my Kleinlich and my, my, I don't know, my Dalwhinnies and my Edredors. I want, lighter on its feet, more minerality, drier. And it's like someone came and put these two parties together, and that person made this bottle of malt whiskey. It's a lovely sort of, it's very Speyside-y, but at the same time, like, there is that sort of reminder that, oh, this is a Highland whiskey. It's a little bit serious. There's an honesty to this that I absolutely love. I can't go score-wise higher than 85 out of 100, so let's give it 85. But here's the thing about this. There are some things about this that aren't captured by that score. For example, I have here the Glenallachie 10-year cask strength that I reviewed, I don't know, a while back. I gave that basically the same score as this. However, I have been drinking a hell of a lot of this because and not so much this. This is, they finished this in everything that they could get their hands on, and it's a little bit. It doesn't ruin the whiskey, but it doesn't elevate it at all, and it just ends up being a little bit of a distraction, a little bit of just makes it feel busy, and yeah. So even though it's stronger and $10 less, I would actually tell you to go out and buy this one because it's just more simple and honest. And you know what this is? This is like if you're arranging a tasting ever, this is the kind of thing you want to lead off the lineup, because this is just gonna get everyone's palates dialed in. There's nothing. There's a lot of little complications and little corners going on in this, but it's not like like a headliner, soprano or something like that. It's not going to blow you out of the water initially. It's just a very well made, simple malt whiskey. Presented in good form, unchill filtered, probably not a lot of color, and at a higher strength. And they're even telling you sort of which batch this is. This is what we're demanding from our producers. And even if I can't give this the highest score in the world from an objective point of view, I'm loving the hell out of this. So if there's a notch on your shelf for something like this, something to just like open the night with, for you to like kind of just get yourself settled in before you move on to something that's going to be a bit more difficult. This is a perfect thing to fill that notch. So yeah, 85 out of 100 with an additional sort of asterisk saying this is actually much more just lovable on its own merits than that score may indicate. And that's kind of all I got with this. Thanks for watching. Hope this is helpful, and cheers.